Hello, my lovely, inspiring human potential community. In this universal love energy transmission session, we will be focusing again on the feeling, a sense of ease with the unknown. So, there's a lot of fear that we all know comes with the unknown, and a lot of cliche sentences too. What I got to learn, and still I'm learning more about, from the psychiatrist, neuroscientist that I'm learning from in the classes offered and taken, as well as the membership classes by the NICABM company, NICABM.com, our nervous system actually is threatened by lack of predictability. And so this is something that the regular listeners will be hearing more and more about on the podcast, but that I also like to share with anybody tuning in, the physiological component of fear with the unknown, because cliche sentences actually don't get you to clear charged emotional and mental patterns around the unknown. And when you're presented with unknown, uncertainty, unwanted, they have already a very important emotional reaction, because not only is your body immediately prepared to defend you, but you have your lovely mind that has created, because you're now a grown up and you have your own stories and assumptions, and we all do, with our ego self, because we are raised by people and then we go to school and we have friends. So there's this idea of treating one's own thoughts as holding back, which, if you break it down again, you don't hold yourself back. But yes, there are ways that you organize. There are ways that our brain, in fact, wires that default network that we all have by our 10, 12 months of age. We have a default network. Many different communities talk about it in different ways. And when I say different communities, I mean, for example, the psychiatrists, neuroscientists that look at the human body and explain to us how our brain works and helps people, or the esoteric sciences, which has a whole different way they talk about this default network that is connected to our everyday experience. And bringing together the human and spiritual elements is very important, because at the end of the day, it's you, and it involves the ego self, and it involves our emotions. So in this case, dealing with the unknown, it's the first main module for reasons, and it in fact involves, in the inner growth program, relationships, expectations, because our unknowns typically involve people and situations we go through, which is why there will be charged emotional states and or mental patterns. One perfect example of what I'm learning now with the NICAB membership classes is about the conflict avoidance, and how people really have assumptions on conflict. Some are okay with it, they think it'll resolve problems. Others are completely avoidant, and this is in the absence of extreme trauma, meaning an abusive, neglective household, because there's always a differentiating factor. Those who have a secure attachment household are able to know they can express things, and there'll be an easier emotional time talking about differences. Those who instead react quite the opposite, so very emotionally, very defensive, it's something much more traumatic, because there's that much of a bigger impact. So trauma is any feeling that overwhelms the brain and that our body wasn't able to process and get stored. So here, that lack of predictability again, and the unknown. Let's focus on the body and gain familiarity with the sense of ease. And as you connect the dots to your own emotions with the body, and stop criticizing your mind and emotions, and you get to explore them from the thought. That's why the inner growth mindset, it's meant to help you gain a sense of ease, which is how you then tap into that infinite higher human consciousness. So these energy transmissions, as those who regularly tune in and have been watching, because I haven't updated the podcast with letting people know about these. Again, I've been recording those ahead of time, but we're a community we're building so we can spread the word. These transmissions are here to help bring you to more of that lovely inner harmony and inner growth that you can make a constant as your mindset, journey, and lifestyle approach. This supports the higher human consciousness of you, because you're connecting to that heart, mind, and body higher frequency, that 5D, which is unconditional love and neutrality and beyond. You get to choose an enlightenment vibration, or that functional adult for those who prefer that verbiage, And you're engaging, in fact, in your ventral vagal state as you gain safety with the unknown, as you gain safety with your thoughts, as you gain safety because you're regulating yourself. So you're working with your neural networks, your human structure. This is what makes this so amazing, at least to me, that we are infinite. And the psychiatrists, who are the founding body for all humanity as they move forward with their information, this will share and spread the word of, emotions are more than just what we had listed. There's a whole bunch of other things that take place. So don't be upset when you do think of the unknown and you say, yeah, it's quite uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable because physiologically your nervous system doesn't like lack of predictability. So whether it be people coming or going, which reminds me of a Sadhguru video I was watching where he says, human relationships are variants or variables. They're not absolutes. And he says, if you want an absolute human relationship, they must be dead. What he's trying to say is people will want to do what they do, and sometimes they won't do what you want them to do. And he's creating an entire conversation on, humans have things that take place. And this is one of those elements of why in that first main module dealing with expectations and relationships is a part of that, because our loved ones, especially the ones that you've chosen, which reminds me, don't forget, where abundance goes where energy flows. And so make sure you have people that you don't have to explain yourself to in a battle format. And what this means is not having yes people, it means having people that you feel free to be yourself with. They're the ones who always genuinely are happy for every step you make forward. They're always genuinely interested in what you're doing. They don't tell you what to do. They actually embrace what you're sharing. You feel expanded. They get you. They're home. They're home to you. And you can have the biggest arguments, but when you share each other's lives, you're always happy for each other and able to give each other positive, expansive support. This is very important. At least have one person. Then if you want, or you must have others, you can learn to be grown up about it. And when I say grown up, I mean to actually be at ease. This is where you, as Sadhguru points out, when you're facing that, have the ability to gain equanimity. And that's amazing for those who do enjoy tapping into the infinite higher consciousness, which is that oneness, Christ consciousness. Those in the spirituality community have different ways of calling it. Avatar consciousness, I call it being full-on functional adult with your ventral vagal state for everything that I've learned. So thinking about, again, the body and the unknown, I'm going to help to work through feelings more than anything. And when I say help, I mean support through visualization. And we might read the shaman's dreams oracle, or at least parts of it, at the end. But what I was trying to get at is also that besides engaging in your personal development expansive journey, we're also here with me as an energy healing, wanting to connect and channel the universal love energy through me into you. So if you are receptive and you give your consent, state or think yes, the universal love energy that I channel through me into you is always for the best and highest good, and it is to support in a loving way, to support emotionally and at the mind level. And when I say that, it's to give you sense of ease, more love, more safety, the ability to relax. And in fact, let's begin with paying attention to the lovely brain of yours. I will take a pause as you either consent and are open and receptive to the universal love energy or not. You guys have that option. You know this. It's an intelligence energy. It won't go anyways to those who are not open and receptive, just so you know. But I'll take a pause to connect with you. Okay, I'm now connected to you energetically for those who are receptive and open. Now, again, clearing the mind, clear it of any chatter, clear it, visualize if you feel it in any way, shape, or form busy, visualize whatever brings you a sense of calm, ease, flow, I think of the wind or the ocean. I love the ocean. I love the beach and the sun. So I think of sunny days. And then bring your awareness to your shoulders and bring them down and open them. You want to also be rhythmically breathing. That's the 5 seconds inhaling, 6 seconds exhaling. Because when we inhale, we're activating our parasympathetic nervous system. When we exhale, when we inhale, we're activating our sympathetic nervous system. I get that confused. That would be the flight fight, getting ready to flight fight. The parasympathetic nervous system is engaged when we are breathing out, so exhaling, and that's our relaxed state. As we gain sense of ease with engaging with other people and any concept, so as you allow your mind to be neutral, and that would involve always your heart, because your mind can't be neutral if you're upset. This is why we're focusing on our lovely nervous system and the unknown. Since that immediate lack of predictability is there the minute anything is different than what you're used to. That equals lack of predictability because you're used to something. And now even the part about our brain wiring, those who would criticize it and talk about it in a way as if it's a bad thing. The brain uses energy. I watched this documentary on Netflix or Amazon that it was explaining how much energy the brain uses. And that is most likely the reason why it learned to organize the way it does. But you, by applying the transcendent function, that's Carl Jung's word for when we work with our left and right brain hemispheres together, which can only be done if you're in a calm state, by doing that and then practicing to disengage from negative narratives and to contemplate, you disengage from the duality only if you choose. Every time something scares us or upsets us, we're already in a story of me against the world kind of thing. And while as you're growing up, you're really learning that, this is where as you get older, you can do different. Breathing rhythmically helps you to calm your physiology. I like just natural breathing, but obviously there's a reason why the rhythmic breathing works, and it would be because of the way it's our natural way of breathing, at least the way I learned about it. And this was from a TED Talk video actually. Then I learned more with the psychiatrist that explained, and one of the rhythmic breathing examples that was given by one of the psychiatrists is 7 seconds inhaling and 11 seconds exhaling, so that you can elongate your state in the parasympathetic state. So if there's anybody who feels that would be more beneficial, apply that. What I want you to now also focus in on is your lovely heart, to bring compassion, love, to allow yourself to feel into that and to feel at ease. Now, if you do want to, you can focus on the Shaman's Dream Oracle card, Willow the Wisp, treasures hidden in the shadows. So, our lovely blue, our lovely throat chakra. There's some green, our lovely heart chakra. Being able to speak one's own truth once the unknown has taken place, that one's a big one, huh? So, let's look at the nervous system. So visualize your nervous system. I visualize the spine and your lovely brain and the body, okay? And just think of the word unknown, which really is, well, for me, darkness is the unknown. It could be an abyss. It just is in the middle of nowhere. Let's also think of lack of predictability. So when you're not sure about something, this can happen with money, with job, family, again, loved ones, being left out in the cold, being betrayed, lied, all these lovely things that people get to experience. And I say lovely, not because obviously they're lovely emotionally, but they're lovely because they give you an opportunity to pursue inner growth. People grow up from their teenage years and carry those teenage years, at least when I look at the adults that are yet to be functional adults emotionally. And it's something that I see as a natural thing because they have their job, their interests, their routine. We have routines for a reason. Again, cliche sentences don't work with the reasons. They just create a narrative that keeps a person speaking words without actually looking at those emotions. Our mind, once it's always participating and the emotion is also at ease, your life becomes interesting and blissful because you're actually navigating it from your inner world with that ownership without the cliche sentences. That is what reduces the experience of life. And in fact, on that note, let me read to you. There's a sentence that Will-O-the-Wisp has that I wanted to translate into more of a 5D terminology with you guys. So in the infinite space. One, this card basically is bringing to you the mystery, the unknown. And it talks about how perhaps you feel you want to be where it's safe. So you decide to remain on the journey you know instead of taking the offer. And that they are also saying you might never know what this offer will bring again because this unknown opportunity may never present itself. But then they're also saying if you turn away, it has its own consequences. And here's the part of where no consequence is a negative when you follow what your heart wants. So if a person feels safer to stay where they're at, this is where be comfortable with that. Allow yourself to feel into what I just said. And right here, if any shame arose, because that's the feeling that came up here for me with society always saying, you don't like change, you don't like this, to people in general. I've had people tell me that too, by the way. But any societal sentence that can bring this shame because it's being said to you that you're a scaredy cat kind of thing, right? And your body's already feeling uncomfortable, otherwise you wouldn't have disengaged from accepting. We're learning about unconditional self-love. If there's anything that the inner growth journey is meant to provide, is that you may fully love who you are with your vices and virtues, all of it. And so to accept that if you do not want to change, to accept meaning to feel it okay from within your own body versus engage in what others are telling you to do. They don't call it peer pressure because obviously, if all of society is telling you you have to change because if you're not, well, you must be giving up an opportunity. Well, I would say that's bullying, peer pressure, call it what you will. But the point is, note if there's a feeling of, oh, I feel ashamed, because that's that we group. That's our mammalian heritage, the belonging and other things. You're an adult now. You don't have to belong. You can work with the insecure ego self and allow yourself to take ownership of the feeling and then take ownership of the fear and not be ashamed of it. Because as one of my friends has pointed out, when somebody is going to think something through, it demonstrates intelligence. Means you're carefully thinking about what you want. Now, maybe not everybody does that, but it doesn't matter. When people choose what they choose, it's their life, not ours. And here's where, again, any feeling that arises, if let's say you're thinking about something that came around and you did say no to it, work with the self-compassion, compassion towards the external. Allow yourself to know that your nervous system, your actual physiology, does not like lack of predictability. And it's okay to be, one, afraid, and it's okay to not want to change. And whose life is it? So who needs to be okay? Now, if you feel that you'll be missing out, that's another element that you can work with, because that's another element of external pressure that gets disregarded and gets used as these cliche sentences. A fulfilled person who's in an enlightenment state, and that is where we head, as always, with the podcasts and anything that I share, self-empowerment, enlightenment. If you choose to want to be in that space, there is never a wrong turn. There are choices that you make. If you contemplate, take ownership from the mind and heart and say, long term, will I be happy with this? And then allow you to know you are making a choice to trust your heart versus lead your life with others' choices and hearts. That's all. And it won't be perfect to everybody. but it's not their life. You're the one who wants to gain the empowerment feeling. So feel empowered to say no to unknown or change because it feels safer and better for you to stay where you're at. I want you to gain a sense of it's okay to say no to change because I don't want to do it. I'm an adult. Versus having and letting other people, oh, you're going to miss out. And again, that, think of it as peer pressure or somebody bullying you. Don't hold it against the people. I'm saying that moment, give yourself the right to defend your position from within you emotionally. And then mentally, you slowly bring yourself to neutrality. Once you're in the neutral space, that's when you can actually start thinking, why don't I want to do this or this? Is there a reason that I might regret this or that? And you start to actually think about it with yourself, not with those who will give you the cliche sentences. So the sentence here, after they say it has its own consequences to stay in the known, they're trying to make it sound like you must accept this unknown. This is the part that is in duality. Why is the known so appealing? It is only when you wake up to its restrictions, its soft prison or golden cage, that you realize there must be more. So again, to me personally, telling people that the known is a soft prison or a golden cage, or that it has restrictions, is an opinion of a person who is using what are cliche sentences and at this point narratives that have been spoken for I don't know how many years to people about go and do that thing and break free from your cage. You have no cages. You literally have no cages around you. What you do have is that you make choices in life, and sometimes those choices aren't fulfilling anymore, or they might be half fulfilling. So emotionally speaking, you know that there's something new that you want to do. And life is always presenting to you new, especially when the unexpected takes place within those lovely relationships and the unknown. And even caring for people, right? Sometimes people can get sick in our life and we get worried. I know I've been through that and still go through that. And so right there, the unknown of something like that. So let's focus in on the feeling of the unknown with our loved ones and events that just take place besides choices. And allow yourself to, again, just feel into it with your compassion, your love, your sense of safety. You're contemplating, you're in front of a screen or a phone watching this video. When we're dealing with our day-to-day, for as much as some people I know they want to be back in the history of prehistory, personally I'm really happy with where we're at, technology, homes, all this good stuff. I understand the concerns for the earth, and I'm always helping to the best of my ability to bring forth better balance, but I like where we're at and all the information we've gained and how we're learning to treat each other personally. So what I was trying to get at here is you're no longer, we're the tribe. If they kick you out, you're going to suffer starvation. I know there are people that in 2021, I've had people tell me, oh, the day that this happens, you'll be blah, blah, blah. And they make some comment that I will not survive. And I say, it's okay if I don't. I'll be okay with that. It'll be what it'll be. But those hypotheticals and those narratives, they don't keep you in the now, and they really create an inexistent scenario. So focus in on the now and how you live and what you actually have at disposal. Loved ones, job, food, and so the unknown still is scary. Now, there are generations that will think of this as silly. I know, again, many people criticize the generation of today without realizing that the generation of today is much more emotionally mature for a reason. They know that they are worthy, they should be here, and they have access to infinite information thanks to the internet. And even though people want to, right again, here, complain, there's only So many areas people will limit. So that's restricting the infinite human potential by criticizing consistently and continuously anything that is different, without realizing that it's because it's different to them, because they have an opinion about it. We all have opinions. We can all express it neutrally, by the way. I have a very big opinion. All humanity can feel unconditional love for each other and be nice to each other. But I know that before that even maybe happens, it's going to require some time. So at the point, we all have opinions. What matters for your life is that opinion. Besides your opinion, you have a feeling with it. So gather the feeling of that unknown. Allow yourself to recognize it now that you know it. It's a bit soft and scary and uneasy when it's in a safe space, right? Now let's bring in unexpected, unwanted situations where maybe there has been, whether it be unknown for how a relationship is going to go, a job is going to go, or unknown because something happened that hurt your feelings or that made you sad or angry. Okay, so with people, now I'm thinking about people. When you've dealt with unknowns, uncertainties with people in your life, and or if you think about that, notice the difference with those feelings, because there's certain feelings with life and then there's a hint of different feelings with others. Usually that others will involve a bit of our own egos, that unfair fair that we talked about in the other episode, I think was 5. That hint right there is that child that learned how to defend itself in your own unique way. So some may feel that it's like, I want to retreat, so not have an actual expression with the voice of that, to speak it out, even just to yourself. Okay, so notice if you want to take charge or retreat, that can give you a good indication of how you handle physiologically that defense mechanism, the nervous system, how you handle the unknown emotionally. As you pay attention, bring that compassion to you and the others, allowing your ego to know this isn't a competition, because you're going the self-empowered route. You're not staying in an insecure ego, and those others don't have to be a part of your life. But what you want to do, if you're choosing that enlightenment soul age group, is to allow yourself to keep working with the neutrality with the ego as time moves forward, because you'll always notice that hint. Now that you're aware of the inner body and these emotions, and you're relating it to thoughts and life, you can pay attention more because it's present. We know when we're getting hyper aroused or hypo aroused. That's the nervous system's 2 different ways. If it's not ventral vagal, those are both in stressed ways, by the way. So hypo is lower, lack of energy. Hyper is flight, fight, so it can be anxious or anger. So I've seen some people, sometimes they'll have very big disappointments happen and they'll be an apathetic energy. That's a body that learned to react to threatened stuff with hypo. The energy drainage is the indication. And for the hyper, getting anxiety or getting angry, none are bad. It's your body responding and defending you. So being able to be neutral towards your emotions is what's going to get you to be neutral with the unknown, and to be okay with the fact that that lack of predictability will always get an initial reaction. As you practice this neutrality with things that are unexpected, unwanted, to the best of your ability, you will see how that allows you more sense of ease. And last notes before I disconnect are that your power is always within you. Your thoughts, emotions, they're there in a certain way, thanks to your upbringing, thanks to your life, thanks to your body being there for you, thanks to the books and all these beautiful pieces of information that are out there You can always gain more. It's as long as you're working with your mindset that you will get to experience a life that you love to the depth of you, even when the unknown, unexpected takes place. You know that you're in a spot of that enlightenment once you're neutral towards humanity, that equanimity, once you can be in an emotional state and not get upset at you or others, but work through it. It doesn't mean you're not voicing. It means you're simply aware that your body, heart, and mind are having a moment, and you're okay with that, and you're trying, obviously, to be a person who can be, communicative. So not reactionary, but communicative and expressive. And here's where it doesn't matter what you have on the other end, because you're the one who's open to knowing I have another end or situations in front of me. Those are not your power. Your power lies within you. And so you're actually mastering the body, heart, and mind, which is what gets you to be tapped into that infinite higher human consciousness potential, because you're staying calm to the best of your ability and practicing this with everything that happens, even those things that people think are petty. Nothing's petty to your body. So you have every day the opportunity to be at ease, but people don't take it because they think of life with cliche sentences. You must go through hell before you get to heaven. You must go through pain. Pain's your biggest teacher. Pain's not your teacher. Your body will memorize what hurts you so that it may defend you. This is why we have many adaptive children, emotional responses in adult human being bodies. Doesn't matter where they're at. They have not been tending to their emotions and getting themselves to a mature emotional state. But they're staying in that space because, at the end of the day, we're just now really finding out information, because people want information from specific bodies, entities, before they start believing in that lovely infinite higher human potential, which those of us who instead have always felt and known it to this day are here and there speaking words of wisdom and sharing enlightenment, not in cliche sentences, in a way of how amazing is it to be here, how amazing is it to learn. So you've worked with your own body a little bit today, and hopefully this will support you as those unknown pieces come to be, and to work with your heart, mind, and body with unconditional love and neutrality. Bringing that to the forefront will always lead you to saying, okay, wait, do I want to be reactive, or do I want to calm down and take a look at what's going on, and then take steps in a direction that I know when I look back and you contemplate it, I'll be okay with that. And you also decide to recognize your own ownership. You don't ever miss out on anything, because your body, heart, and mind can't steer you wrong. No matter how much people will say that you can hold yourself back, if you're not in a place of safety with that thing yet, you're not holding yourself back. You're not ready. That's all. We're not ready when we first begin life. We get taught some more, and then we keep getting taught more. And when emotionally speaking, people ignore those and don't get to empower, you're not ready sometimes for things that are different, because you're actually not emotionally prepared. You haven't taken a look at them. It's not holding back anything. The perfect timing is based on your ease with the expansion that life brings you. Anything that is new is a lack of predictability to your body, to hold against your body, heart, and mind that it wants your safety. It is like holding against, parents keeping their child safe. The difference here is that it's your body, and you can become the adult versus your own parent, which is what instead those who stay as emotional adaptive children and they justify their behavior, and again, not to get into that, but you would never lead yourself to a bad place. There are reasons why you do things that you do. You can get to know them. And when it comes to external, it's always about respecting society, people, each other. Finding it easy to be you is about you being able to Love who you are unconditionally with your vices and virtues, and expect the same from those who you surround yourself with. And if it doesn't work out, if they don't want to, you can find the middle ground for those who obviously you can't disengage from, and for those who you can disengage from, you most likely will naturally. Right here, the unknown of what would take place. Confrontation, as I'm learning, people have a bit of shyness around it. It's only if it's in an aggressive tone. Once you're self-empowered and in a constant state of enlightenment, neutrality, this unconditional love, it's not confrontation. You're actually vocalizing something with calmness to another. And because you're calm and attentive to the other and or others, you're not looking to be in an ego fight because your ego is not competing with others. So you'll be open and understanding that there's different reactions from people, because that's natural. Not everybody's going to have a tolerance for change and known. Everybody has many different things going on at once. You're getting to know yours through that inner growth mindset, journey, and lifestyle approach. So smile. And I have now, guys, disconnected from you. And please, as always, let love fill your day. And I look forward to being back with you again for another session.